Hey, this is the update to the Metherdine mass driver mod. Because it behaves differently than it was originally written, I've renamed it. But we will just demonstrate some features here. Actually, we'll show you how it works and then show you how it's constructed. So all of these rings here are regular magnetic rings. And then this bottom one is a magnetic chamber. It's like a docking port of sorts. It still needs some work, but its basic functionality is there. We're going to turn off gravity, so just pretend we are in space. It's already off. Okay. And then I'm going to decouple this little craft. So imagine this is a craft that's floating in space here, and we've brought it in the vicinity of the chamber, of the firing chamber. So I can right click on the firing chamber and I can turn it on. I can turn the magnet on. So you can see the magnet status was on and then it switched off automatically once it docked. And I can decouple it and you can see that now the vessel is moving away freely. Or I can turn the docking ring. I can turn it on again. Turn it on. Boop. And it automatically turns off. And this is all one vessel now. Once it docks, it's one vessel, and you have to click decouple to decouple it. So I've also added on here, if I can find it somewhere, a controller. It's using the barometer model because I am not a modeler. So this is actually a magnetic ring controller. And you have to turn the safety off first. Reason being is I want you to have that to think about before you turn it on. If you had this in orbit and there was another vessel close by, it would accelerate it towards your mass driver and they would collide and probably be destroyed. So you really need to be careful about turning this thing on. So some of the controls here is you can, rather than going to each ring individually and turning it on, toggling the magnet on or off, you can control all of them from here. So you can activate all of them, deactivate all of them. You can also do the decouple and fire all. What this will do is look for any decouplers on the vessel of these magnetic chambers and activate their decouple function. It will set auto off to enabled for all magnets and turn them on. Now what auto off does is, usually if you don't have this enabled, when the vessel passes through the magnet, as it's moving away, the magnet is pulling it back towards it, and the vessel will just bounce back and forth through the magnet. So what this does is, as soon as the vessel passes through the magnet, it will automatically turn the magnet off so that the vessel is free to move away. So that is the, what you would usually want for mass drivers, that as the vessel passes through, the magnet turns off so that the vessel can move away freely. So decouple and fire all does all three of those things. It turns on all the magnets, decouples the vessel, and then sets auto off to enabled. So we'll go ahead and do that here. Whee! And there goes our vessel firing away. And if we revert to launch, I'll show you a couple other things. We'll show you how it'll behave if you didn't have the auto off on. I'm going to turn this magnet on and go down here and decouple. I start out with this particular example. I'm starting out with a regular docking port node attached. So you can see it sort of bounces through and it's a little bit chaotic. And it does have a tendency to blow things up eventually with a vessel that small. We can turn down the strength of it. So you have two control. I didn't intend to make this available This was really intended for kind of just fun. It's a field in the config that you can modify, and I was going to disable the GUI, but I've left the GUI here. Eventually, I'm going to have it use electricity, and as a result, I would suggest that you make sure you do have a docking port. If you're going to put one of these in orbit, make sure you take the time to put docking ports on it. So if you need to dock other vessels that have additional solar panels and batteries on it, you can, because in a future update this might consume electricity. But for now, this just adjusts proportionally how much power it uses, as does this. And I'll probably eventually take away the force multiplier and just set them all to a base value. It's a little bit more powerful than I intended it to be, but you can have fun with it. So let's turn that on. Now it's not quite as chaotic. See, it's slowing down. It's going to get pulled back. And so you can see it just sort of oscillates in there. And you can see it sort of really speeds up when it gets close. That's because the magnet has a stronger pull the closer you are. And as you can see, if you leave it in there long enough, it oscillates around and eventually collides with something. It broke off its docking port. And it gets a little bit erratic just because of the speed of the game, how fast it updates. So I can turn this off, and then you can see the magnet automatically turned off when it passed through and let it fly away. So that's the purpose of the auto off feature. So if we go back to the construction area, I'll show you there's only 3 parts in the mod. Under utilities, you'll find the regular magnetic ring, and then the magnetic chamber, which is this thing down here that has the coupling and decoupling feature. And then we will, under command and control, this is the magnetic ring controller that I showed you that had all the decouple and fire options. And you can, if you get tired of turning the safety off, you can in the VAB, you can turn it off so that it is off by default once you launch. And that's pretty much that.